Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Decentering Men series. So this video is kind of a follow-up to my previous Decentering Men video about how a lot of men want to ride your coattails. And this whole Decentering Men topic is very important because, especially for the women who are still choosing to date men for whatever reason, if you're married or you're currently in a relationship, it's very important to still have this information just so you know some of the tactics that men use on a subconscious level to sabotage their partners. So today I want to talk about how a lot of men will try to come in and control your business or even sabotage your business. I actually believe that a lot of men do this without even realizing it. And I have plenty of examples of how this has happened to me. So part of the reason why men have a tendency to want to control women's businesses is because men have been lied to. Patriarchy hurts men. And so most men have grown up being told that they are conquerors, that they are the head of the household, that they are going to be protectors and providers, and that, it's really important for them to provide and have money. And they've kind of been taught almost like this alpha male pathology. And so if you are a man who was raised with this alpha male type of mindset, and then your actual real life does not reflect that, so you don't have the wealth, you don't have the status, you're just another pawn when it comes to capitalism. You're still at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of wealth and status. A lot of men are actually dealing with this cognitive dissonance on a daily basis. And that's because men have actually been lied to just like women. They've been told that if you just get a car and get a house, then suddenly women will come falling at your feet and, you're just going to get this hot supermodel wife and your life is just going to look like a porn movie. She's just going to want to have sex with you and all this other crap. And so a lot of men are waking up to the harsh reality of the fact that what they thought they were entitled to, they're not going to get it. And so this causes a lot of cognitive dissonance. And most men, because they are not even emotionally aware, they don't realize that they're walking around with cognitive dissonance. For those of you who follow my channel, you know that I talk a lot about cognitive dissonance and how it causes things like anxiety, depression, rage. And so all of these issues that you see with men online and in real life, this is all rooted in something like cognitive dissonance. He thought that his life would turn out one way, and then it didn't. And so now here you come as this beautiful, feminine, kind of upwardly mobile woman. Maybe you've just been on your decentering men journey. You've been kind of growing your business. Maybe you've got a little hair salon or something, or a little coffee shop or an Etsy shop. I've noticed that a lot of men have the tendency to try to butt their way into your life and tell you what to do with your business ideas, because a lot of men cannot fathom the idea that women can be successful without him and that women can actually be smarter than him. A lot of men can't fathom the idea that you, someone without the college degree, someone who did not spend 10 years working in your field, that you could actually be smarter than him and better than him at something. And so oftentimes men will come in trying to give you a bunch of unsolicited advice, not realizing that they feel entitled to give you that advice because they have an inherent mindset that, they're naturally smarter than women. And that's because this is a part of how men have been socialized. They've been socialized to believe that they are more logical than us women, which I also do not believe, because if men were more logical than women, then they wouldn't do illogical things based on impulses, such as cheating and, all this other stuff, gambling, like blowing their life savings on a side chick and stuff like that. So I definitely do not think that men are inherently more logical, but because of patriarchy and misogyny, a lot of men have been programmed into thinking that they are more logical. And so whenever a man sees a woman who is more successful than him, or if he just sees you starting a business from the ground up, and let's say your business has not succeeded yet, he automatically is going to feel entitled to tell you what to do with your business and to tell you how you should grow. And that's because on a subconscious level, he thinks his manly knowledge is going to somehow make you better off versus if you don't have any information that he gives you. And again, this goes back to that internalized bias that a lot of men have, which is that women need a man in order to succeed financially. And you know what? Women do contribute to this sometimes. I think that a lot of times men see like sugar baby culture or like hypergamy, and then they try to use that to their advantage. And then they try to sometimes have a mindset of, hey, since I'm richer than you, and I'm the head of the household, I get to tell you what to do with your business. So let's say you're a stay-at-home wife and you want to start a YouTube channel. Sometimes your own husband will have a mindset of, well, I'm the one who brings home the bacon. I'm the one who makes the most money. So then he might try to tell you what to do with your YouTube, or what to do with your hairstyling business, or what to do with, whatever little passion project you've got going on. And this is because of that bias that a lot of men have. But one thing I've also noticed is that in order to kind of soothe that cognitive dissonance that a man feels, sometimes he will try to come in and he will do this under the guise of working with you or like trying to help you, but he is subliminally trying to control the direction of your business. I've seen this happen so many times. A lot of men lie and say, I don't care about your degree. I don't care about how much money you have. This is false. The main women that men lust after are women who are rich. And when I say rich women, I mean women who are rich enough to maintain their beauty. So these are women who are rich enough to afford veneers. They're rich enough to afford a boob job or a nose job or plastic surgery, facelifts, liposuction. They're rich enough to afford to get their hair highlighted every month or to buy expensive hair extensions and stuff like that. So this whole thing that guys say when they're like, we don't care about women with money, that's a complete lie. It's a complete lie, because even the main women that they lust after are rich women. They are pop stars who are rich, or they have high incomes. They lust after like porn stars and stuff, or other women who they kind of have higher incomes than average. Like, I have definitely never seen a guy say, oh yeah, I want the girl who works at the McDonald's, or like the homeless girl on the street. Oh yeah, that's who I want. No. Oftentimes men subconsciously lust after women who have wealth because men lust after power. And so if you are a woman who has wealth, you represent power. If you have wealth and beauty and you have some sort of fame, like let's say you are, I don't know, a politician, or you are the school principal, or you are someone who's well known in your community, you're well known in your church or something like that, you represent wealth, beauty, power, status. And so that is something that most men will never have access to. And so this is also why I made that video where I talked about how most men actually feel irrelevant without women, because a lot of men are bad at building communities for themselves. And a lot of men spend the majority of their time trying to oppress other men, or they spend their time trying to oppress women. Has anyone else noticed this? A lot of men, they spend their time trying to subjugate other men. So maybe he wants to, get some men to work under him. Maybe he wants to play basketball at the gym and then get in a fight with some other guy. So a lot of men spend their time trying to domineer other men, or if they can't domineer other men, if they have been domineered, then they will try to domineer women. Or in other cases, they may try to be domineering over their children, because for a lot of men, these are the only places where they feel powerful. It is with their wife or with their children. And so this is also where you get kind of like the abusive fathers from, or those fathers who are like really hard on their sons, or they're really hard on their kids and stuff. That's because outside of that household, that man doesn't have any power, and he knows it. And so in order to soothe that cognitive dissonance, he wants to try to exercise his power in other ways. And so I've noticed one of the ways that men will try to exercise power, if they don't have power in other areas, is by usurping his girlfriend's business ideas or trying to redirect where she's going. And I've noticed that some men will do this even if you're not their girlfriend. So for example, when I first started this YouTube channel years ago, I had so many random men from the Red Pill and Manosphere coming on my channel trying to redirect my content. My content has nothing to do with Red Pill people or, relationships, really. I mean, the closest I get to talking about relationships would be kind of like the decentering men content. My channel is very woman focused, but I still had random guys coming on here trying to give me advice in the comments section. And it literally got to a point where when I used to do live streams, they would try to call in, they would try to derail the conversation. If you think women are bad with derailing the conversation, try having a man on your live stream. Try having a man working with your business or something. So I've noticed that a lot of guys, they would try to give me unsolicited advice without even knowing me. And I'm just a random stranger. So imagine how a lot of husbands can be, or boyfriends with their girlfriends. And so I'm just warning you about this, because a lot of men who are unsuccessful in their own lives, or, maybe they don't have the courage to start a business, or they don't have the courage to go, to put themselves out there like you, they will try to live vicariously through their girlfriends or through their wives. And they will try to come in and control their careers. And that makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel relevant. Don't believe me? Look at women like Kelly Rowland. Her husband is the one who is her manager at this point. Honestly, I feel like he is kind of like making her career go down a little bit, but celebrities are a very good example of this. There are plenty of celebrity women who they end up dating or marrying their producers or whoever was kind of like working with them in the beginning. And then over time, that man tries to take control of that woman's career and he ends up running her career into the ground or he ends up stagnating her because that idea didn't come from his heart. It came from her. And so I've noticed that a lot of men have a tendency to want to cage the free bird. And so let's say you're a very creative woman. You like to do lots of different business ideas. You like to sell things, or, you're just really good at that. Sometimes a man who does not have the courage to do that himself will attempt to use the woman as almost like his puppet because he doesn't have the courage to deal with the backlash that comes from being a business owner. He doesn't have the stability to be able to quit his job and become a business owner like how you do. And so oftentimes men will try to put their hand in things because it makes them feel relevant, it makes them feel powerful. And then obviously when they do this, it makes women feel suffocated because it's like, wow, I literally cannot have an identity outside of you. Like, why is it that everything I do financially has to revolve around you? And don't even get me started on the men who push you to make more money in your business and then they get to live off of the spoils of your business. So a lot of men will use their status to you, like they will use being your husband or being your boyfriend. They will try to convince you that it's a flex to be a girlfriend or be a wife. And then this is where you get those women who are kind of like Simone Biles, where they're the ones who are putting you on the map. They're the ones who are putting him on the map. They're the ones who are making him more famous now. They're the ones who are kind of like pumping up his head. You would have not known who he was had it not been for her. But because that woman has such a deep-seated belief that it is a flex to be a girlfriend or to be a wife or whatever, then she will be over here building him up and like trying to raise his image up. And that's exactly what a lot of guys want. And that's because that man does not know how to curate his own image. A lot of men do not know how to build their own pedestals. They are under the false impression that they were born with a pedestal, but then obviously society teaches them the truth because 99% of men in a capitalistic system, 99% of them are going to be like at the bottom. They're not going to have the wealth that they think they're going to have. They're not going to ever have the status that they think they have or the desirability that they think they're going to have. Think about all the men who have been told that women are just going to flock to you if you have money. And then let's say that man is like short and fat and bald and like he's really ugly, he has bad breath or something. That man is going to experience a lot of cognitive dissonance because he has been sold a fantasy and he has been brainwashed into being entitled to having a woman. So then when he goes out in the real world and then women are like, ew, no, you're short, you're fat, or ew, you disgust me, or ew, you're like a red pill guy, get away from me. So once he goes out into the real world and he gets rejected, then he internalizes that rejection. And so for a lot of men, it actually triggers men to see a woman having enough confidence to go after her dreams because a lot of men have a deep-seated fear of rejection. And so for you, if you're a woman who is a business owner, maybe you're doing a creative project, starting a YouTube channel, a nonprofit, an Etsy shop, that triggers him because he's like, wait a minute, how is it that she can just do this and not have the same fear of rejection that I have? How is it that she can do this and not have a fear of poverty like I have? A lot of men deeply fear poverty because most men are poor. I mean, in a capitalistic system, it's not set up to where everybody's going to be wealthy. And so the average man that you come across, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that around 87% of men make less than $100,000 per year. And this is across races, across age, like doesn't matter how old he is, how many years he's been in the workforce. There's about a 90% chance that he makes less than 100K per year. So for a lot of men, they have the fear of poverty. They already don't have the financial status that they thought they would have. And so when they see you going out and taking a risk by starting that business or by, putting things together, getting your LLC together and stuff, it makes him feel very triggered because he's like, there's no way that I can just be this easy. And I mean, it's technically not that easy. Like, of course, you're going to have challenges, but a lot of women are way more resilient when it comes to overcoming challenges. Because think about it. We have to deal with monthly periods, hormonal changes, societal expectations, body image expectations. A lot of women are required to go through so much pain just to be beautiful. We have to work out super hard just to be seen as attractive. We have to discipline ourselves when it comes to what we eat. Obviously, a lot of men are very misogynistic and they're very hypocritical when it comes to things like body count and, the double standards surrounding that. And don't even get me started on if you are a woman that comes from a devout religious background, because then your discipline level is going to be even higher. So a lot of men were not even raised to have the same level of discipline that women have, because men on average, they were raised with this boys will be boys mentality. Meanwhile, girls, you had to get up, you had to wake up and do your chores, you needed to learn how to cook, you need to learn how to clean, how to properly care for yourself, how to do like your hair removal routines and how to take care of your hair, how to grow your hair, how to take care of your skin. So a lot of women have had to overcome so many challenges, whether they are micro challenges or big challenges, to the point where I really do believe that it ends up being easier for women to kind of tap into our creative energy and, start a business idea or, just think of something to where we can have like some sort of side hustle. And so for a lot of men, they are fascinated and intrigued by this feminine creativity we have, to the point where a lot of men, they just want to get their grimy hands on it and they want to try to tell you which direction you should go with your business. And it's like, how are you going to tell me what to do with my business when like you've never owned a hair salon? You have never done a woman's hair before. You have never designed clothing before. So how are you going to tell me what type of clothing to design? But because a lot of guys are so entitled, they have a hard time believing that you can be successful and have an idea without him being involved. A lot of guys have a hard time believing that women can be successful and be separate from them. And so they feel the need to put their hands in what you're doing. Just like the men who flock to my YouTube channel. This channel has nothing to do with men. It's literally called Exoticals United. It has a very feminine name and it is tailored to women, yet I still have tons of men flocking to this channel all the time, almost every single day, because they can't believe that a woman can just have a YouTube channel and have a space that is only for women, where we talk about women stuff, and that it can actually be successful without them. But I've noticed this overarching theme with a lot of men in general, to where if their stay-at-home wife starts some sort of business or wants to do some sort of Instagram, even if it is successful, a lot of men will say, oh, you got a cute little business, or, your business, it's doing okay. And they'll almost start to downplay your achievements. Or let's say you are in college. Maybe you want to go back to school, or you went to community college. A lot of guys will try to make little snide remarks like, oh, well, it's not like you're going to Harvard. Like, you're just going to a community college. You're only going to school online. You don't have the same experience as me. And a lot of guys are so brainwashed to the point where they think that because they work the same job for 15 years, that it somehow gives him the authority to tell you how to run a separate business that has nothing to do with him. And notice how when the roles are reversed, when a man is starting a business, he needs that woman to help him to run that business. You don't believe me? Look at Jeff Bezos, look at Elon Musk. Those men's first wives were the ones who were doing a lot of the sacrifices so that that man could build his wealth. And I've noticed that because a lot of men are so codependent, they are shocked when a woman is not as codependent on him. And they're like, wait, what? You can start a business without me? You can do something without me? You can make money without me? And so a lot of men know that they do not have any relevance outside of finances. And so this is why they are often threatened by women starting their own businesses or kind of building their wealth, or they want to try to trap you into a 50-50 relationship because he knows, okay, if she makes $500K per year, she's going to put 250 of that into a joint bank account, so I get to live off of that. So you see this happen a lot with like celebrity women, where guys will, want to marry them, of course, so that he can have access to her money. And then it kind of traps that woman in the marriage because she feels like, oh crap, if I leave him, I'm the one that's making the lion's share of the income at this point. And so if I leave him, now I'm going to lose the money. And another thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is that if you have a business, especially if your business is profitable within the first 5 years, you are already ahead of the game. Because the average business takes 5 years to even turn a profit. So if you have some sort of online business and you're profiting from it, if you're doing hair and profiting from it, that is already something that's giving you a huge advantage, to the point where your income can surpass that man that you're with, especially if he is working some sort of 9 to 5, like he's a doctor or he is, working in IT or something like that. He understands that your income can surpass his because businesses, like, you can 10x a business. You can 10x a business, you can double a business in 5 years. Most people who work for others, they're not going to 10x their income in 5 years. But when it comes to starting a business, especially if it's some sort of online business, you actually can 10x it in 5 years. And so, one of the scariest things that a woman can do if she's in a relationship is start a business. One of the scariest things that a housewife can do is start a business, because he knows if her income surpasses mine, she could potentially leave me, or she could, not need me anymore. And so, this is why, on a subconscious level, a lot of men will sabotage your business, or they will attempt to become like the boss of your business and be in charge of the business so that you can be dependent on him, because it gives him more leverage in the relationship. It makes him feel relevant because he knows, okay, without me, her business would be gone. And so now she can't leave me. So now I can go cheat, I can go act a fool, I can do whatever I want, and she's not going to leave me because she will lose me and the business. Another reason why men will sabotage women's business ideas is because he can't understand how someone inferior to him, like gender-wise, how a person who has an inferior gender, she's supposed to be not as smart as him, or she's supposed to be like not as logical as him. He can't understand how you can like just go out and be successful and come up with all these creative ideas and actually make money and become profitable within like 30 days. So that actually can ruin a guy's self-esteem. If he already has a fragile ego and if he already feels irrelevant in his career, then a lot of times guys will become jealous of the careers of their wives or the people that they're with, because it reminds him, hey, you ain't shit. Or like it kind of reminds him that he spent the last 25 years working for someone else thinking that it would make him relevant. Meanwhile, you just started your own business, or, maybe you just were living the soft life. Maybe you became a housewife and then you had extra time to start your own online business and now it's profitable. So that's something else that a lot of guys get resentful about, because they're jealous of that. They're jealous that they cannot be a woman and live the soft life, or they're jealous because they know that they have to provide and bring something to the table in order for you to even give him the time of day. And it's funny because guys will get resentful about having to pay bills. Meanwhile, they'll talk about us being gold diggers, but it's like men are beauty diggers, they are youth diggers, they are sex diggers. In some cases, they are even whiteness diggers, and they will date you or marry you because of your ethnicity or because of your genetics, and they want you to birth their children. And then when you ask for them to provide for you in return, then suddenly it's like a big deal and they don't want to do it. And so for the women who are in marriages and stuff, like 50-50 marriages, oftentimes starting a business is their pathway out of that marriage. And so that's why men get threatened by this, because they know, oh my gosh, like if she has this business, she's working for herself now. So she is her own boss. So she has more power. She has her time and her money now. She gets to do whatever she wants with her business and direct it and steer it. Meanwhile, I was too scared to do that. What a lot of people don't talk about is how most men have a fear of failure. Most men have a deep-seated fear of failure, and this is because in society we judge men based on like their the money that they have and stuff. And so, like I said, because of the uneven distribution of wealth in our society, 99.9% of men are already technically failures. And so if you start a business and you don't have that fear of failure, that's already another trigger right there. And has anyone else noticed how a lot of men are so triggered by a beautiful, successful, confident business owner to the point where they will start cheating on you in order to humble you and in order to remind you that you're not special or you're not that special? Has anyone else noticed this? I have seen a lot of men who are jealous of their women's success, but I haven't really seen women who are jealous of a man's success. If anything, women will praise that man for his success and, think that that's great and maybe even want to date that man or marry that man because of that success. But have you ever noticed how with men, it's the exact opposite? How once you start to gain success, once you start to put together some business ideas and he sees that the ball is rolling, then suddenly he gets mad or he gets triggered or he wants to start cheating on you or he wants to impregnate you to slow you down. Once again, I see this happening with celebrities all the time. this happened with, I believe that this potentially could have happened with celebrities like Halle Bailey, women like Rihanna, where it's like you're literally at the top of your game and then suddenly, oh, you know what? Let's have some kids. Let's do a family, let's start a family. And I feel like oftentimes that man knows that if you become richer than him, or like he can kind of predict that you're going to be richer than him, he kind of knows that he's not shit compared to you. And so he wants to get you pregnant so that if you leave him, he's way more poor than you. And so you're probably going to have to pay him child support or alimony if you get some sort of divorce or if you break up. But another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of men cannot admit when a woman is smarter than them. Like he can't admit when you are smarter than him at something. And so he gets very triggered at the fact that you are better than him at owning a business. Like you're better than him at taking an idea and turning it into money, or you're like starting something for yourself, you're building yourself up. And my belief is that women are actually the builders. Women are the natural protectors, providers, and builders. And men know this on a subconscious level. Hence why they want a wife so bad. Because he knows he can't build himself up, so he needs the woman to build him up. And so oftentimes when a man sees you starting a business for yourself, like building yourself up, then it makes him jealous or it makes him feel threatened. Another thing that makes a man feel threatened is the amount of status that can come from your business. Let's say you're an Instagram influencer, or you're doing something where you are out in the public, you are being seen a lot, maybe you're doing real estate or something, you have some sort of Instagram page where people are kind of looking at you and admiring you, maybe you're doing a speaking engagement or something. In some cases, that also can make the man jealous because you are getting attention. You are becoming more visible. For those of you who watch my Pretty Privilege content, you know that beauty is visibility, and that beauty is a form of social power. And so the more visible you are, the more beautiful you're going to be perceived to be. And so that little bit of fame that you're getting from that business, or that little bit of popularity, that is going to be triggering to that man. Because like I said, a lot of men are not relevant without you, and so he finds it hard to believe that you still feel relevant without him. You are still receiving validation from your business. Also, another thing that I've noticed when it comes to unsolicited advice is by giving me unsolicited advice, you are implying that something is wrong. You are implying that I need to be fixed, or that my business needs to be fixed, which again implies that something is wrong. And it's like, how do you know that something's wrong if you didn't even give the girl a chance to start it? So I've noticed that that is a huge habit that a lot of men have, not just here on my YouTube channel, like random men coming on here trying to tell me what kind of videos I should create. How are you going to tell me what kind of videos to create on my YouTube channel? Did you pay for my laptop? No. Did you pay my bills? No. But I've noticed a lot of guys feel entitled to give others advice because they've been told that, you're the head of the house, or like this woman needs to submit to you, or they've also been told that they are more logical and that women are kind of like more emotional and basically stupid, just making all these impulsive emotional decisions, and we don't know what we're doing, we don't know how to like handle money and stuff like that. And so that's another thing that I've noticed is that when it comes to guys, a lot of them, they just give unsolicited advice. They think that they're automatically the teacher or the boss, and that it's okay for them to randomly tell you what to do and how to do it. And then if you tell them to back off and then you succeed without him, then suddenly it's so shocking to the point where now his whole ego is gone, or like, he feels stupid now because he thought that there was no way you'd be able to succeed at something without his input. And it's funny because even here on this YouTube channel, guys have tried to tell me, oh, this type of channel will never succeed without the support of men, or like mixed race women, or ambiguous women, light-skinned women, whatever. You guys will never be able to succeed without men supporting your channels, or without men supporting you. And it's like, no, we're still here. We just created a women's only space. People act like it's impossible for you to have something good without men. If anything, it's even better if you don't have guys coming in and tearing things up. A lot of guys start businesses simply so they can acquire power and subjugate others. Women start businesses for other reasons. A lot of women will start businesses so we can express our creativity, so we can tap into our femininity, so we can help children, or so we can provide for our children if you guys have any kids. So I just feel like the motives for women starting businesses versus men are totally different. Another thing I've noticed is that for most people who give you unsolicited advice, it's never about you. It's always about them just wanting to insert their opinion or wanting to feel relevant, or they want to show off how smart they are. So it's almost like a competitive thing. Like if you say, "Oh, hey, I just started this new online store," and they're like, "Oh, well, I know how to do this, I know how to do that." It's almost as if they're making intelligence into a competition. So that's a part of why I also don't like unsolicited advice. And I've noticed a lot of men do this with their girlfriends or wives when they start a business. And it's because he just wants to feel relevant. He wants to feel like he is still the smartest one in the room. And I've also noticed that some people have the audacity to give you unsolicited advice and then get mad when you don't follow their unsolicited advice. And it's like, you don't control me. You can't tell me what to do. You can't randomly say, "Oh, you need to do XYZ," and then get mad when I don't do that. Like, I am my own autonomous human being. And I've noticed that once you get into relationships, whether it's a marriage or whatever, for a lot of men, they really do subconsciously view you as their property. And so this is why a lot of men feel even more entitled to tell you what to do with your money or with your business ideas or with your creativity when you're married, because he feels like, no, you belong to me and what I say goes. And I feel like for a lot of guys who do try to give you unsolicited advice or they try to control your business, oftentimes it's more about their own anxiety than you. Oftentimes, men, like I said, they have a deep rooted fear of failure or fear of rejection. And so if they see you doing something that could possibly fail, it triggers their inferiority complex, it triggers their deepest fears and stuff. And so they try to come in and control things, or they try to stop you from actually growing, not realizing that their limiting beliefs are actually what's holding them back. But I've noticed that oftentimes when a guy tries to give you unsolicited advice, it's never actually about you. It's not actually something that is going to be helpful, because most of the time, me telling another person to randomly do something, they're not going to be like, "Oh, okay, I was going to start this business, but now because Exoticals United made this random unsolicited comment, now I'm going to change my entire passions, all of my dreams and goals. Now I'm going to change and start this other business." It's like, no, the average person is not going to do that anyway. And so I really do feel like some men have this subconscious belief that if you tell a woman to do something, if you're in a relationship with her, then she is going to do it. Or they have this belief that we are somehow easily impressionable, or that we're just going to listen to what he says because he's our boyfriend and we need to listen to him, or he's your husband, you need to listen to him. He's the head of the household. And this is why I say, for the women who are married and you want to stay decentered, like you still don't want to make him the center of your life, always remember that there is a 50% chance that your marriage will end. And I'm not saying that to scare you. And if you have a boyfriend, there's a 70% chance that that relationship will end. And so always remember that and move accordingly. So when it comes to us starting businesses or having side hustles and income streams and stuff, oftentimes it's about having our own stability in the event that we need to leave, because we all know that all it takes is a couple of pounds or maybe a couple of gray hairs or lack of impulse control for a man to cheat on you or leave you. So I actually recommend that women start their own businesses as a form of having your own stability and not giving your boyfriend or husband access to that money and just allowing that money to be your personal money. But what do you ladies think? Have you ever had a guy get jealous of your professionalism? Have you ever had a guy try to sabotage your business ideas, or he tried to make little snide remarks putting you down or making you feel inferior to another business owner? Because I've noticed that's another thing that they'll try to do too, is they'll try to compare you to another business owner to triangulate and be like, "Oh, well, my cousin Kim, she has a really big hair salon." Or, "Oh, you started a coffee shop? Yeah, my neighbor Sarah, she started a really big coffee shop." So it's a form of triangulation, and it's negging, it's a humbling tactic. And he's doing that because he knows that he doesn't have a coffee shop or a hair salon or anything cool like what you do. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.